Okay, so today the talk is on Shelley and Wileman, dogs and cats. And it's just a bit of fun for the holiday season. I'm putting it in more or less rough chronological order. So starting with some of the earlier ones. And I'm going to go through the dogs to start with, and then later the cats. So I'm actually going back to early J.F. Wileman, so pre-Shelley Wileman to J.F. Wileman for some of the early shots. This is the sporting scenes in the J.F. Wileman earthenware. And if you can see on the left there, that's the back stamp. They all had the same back stamp and they don't have a number. And we don't have exact dates for these because we don't have pattern books or anything else to guide us, but they're sometime in the range between 1866 and 1892, so a long time ago. And these sporting scenes had a number of dogs in them. So I'll just go through some of those and show you some of the dogs. This one, which we'll call sporting scene number 1 for lack of any better description, has a couple of hunting dogs, but they kind of look like whippets, but they're a little bit more robust. Maybe later we can have a discussion on what some of these dogs are, because some of them are a bit hard to determine. There's another one. The next one is another hunting dog. Could be a beagle, could be a pointer of some sort. Again, spaniel, pointer, retriever. Another hunting dog will be chasing that duck. Another one sent to retrieve that duck. Another spaniel. And there's one has got the duck. Look at that very crazed earthenware, but they're lovely transfer prints on these old J.F. Wilemans. There's another one of a running dog. I really wouldn't begin to identify what sort of dog that is. Maybe some sort of spaniel. And there's another one with the dog, with the pheasant. He's got a lovely expression on his face. And that one, it's very hard to tell if he's lying on the ground or if he's at full run. I think maybe he's at full run. Again, a hunting dog. And there's another retriever of some sort, I think, or it's hard to say exactly. He's quite a robust looking dog with a rabbit. I think they're a little bit grisly to our sensibilities these days, but these would have been just a popular sporting scene back in the 1860s. Now this, it's a grotesque from the 1890s, from the Frederick Reed time. And this one was called the Dog of Foe. Not a dog at all, I don't think. So it's actually a lion or a griffin or something, but it's the only thing I've got of that time period that's like a dog. Although there's these faience dogs on planters. There's two different scenes of dogs chasing or being chased, which I think are very appealing. They're a lot of fun. The one in the bottom, the dog chasing the farmyard animals. And the one at the top looks a bit like a bull terrier or something, not really sure. And I'm not sure if the thing that's chasing it is a lion or another sort of dog. Hard to say, but quite fun, those planters. Now, moving on, this is something a little bit different, a Surrey scenery plate. These were quite popular from the 1890s on. I think the Surrey scenery was around. And I don't know if you can see amongst that, just to the left of and halfway at the back of that little herd of sheep, little mob of sheep, as we'd call them in Australia, is a sheepdog of some sort. So there's another dog for you. Then we've got some fox hunting scenes. These are from the early 1900s, and there's I think 12 of these scenes altogether, and dogs are in a lot of them. it's a beagle pack that are going fox hunting. And there's some lovely running beagles in all of these. There they are, looking for the scent. Some of them running. This is actually fox scene 6, which makes you think originally there might have only been intended to be 6, because that's the end, that's the kill. Again, unattractive to us these days, but that was the time. Again, there's fox hunting 7. There they are running up with the horses. And there they are chasing the fox. There they are at a pack at full tilt. And so that there were 10 out of the 12 of them that had the dogs in them. Okay, then there's another faience plate. These were the Dickens wall plates, of which there are 12. And one of them has a little, I think it looks like a poodle Bitzer that's sitting there in the background. Quite sweet. There may be others that have them, but that's one I noticed. Then there's these motoring scenes. The number is 7327, and there's a little dog giving the person trying to fix the car, he's probably barking at him, giving him a hard time. These are sort of comical scenes of motoring from the early 1900s. Then there's monks fishing. That's another scene that's on some of these plates. 7651, that's monks fishing scene 1 that says tomorrow will be Friday. So that's why they're out fishing. So tomorrow they'll have fish for Friday. And there's a little dog in the bottom corner. Some sort of Bitzer, really, hard to say, an indeterminate dog. And in scene 2, monks fishing scene 2, you can see it looks like the monks are chasing the dog. You'd think maybe the dog's run off with the fish, but you can't actually see that, but they do look like they're chasing him. Then there's the Scottish deer stalking series, which is around 1910. And there's about 6 of those scenes. And they have a number of dogs in them. So scene 1 is the start for the hills in gleeful anticipation. And that looks like a wolfhound or something like that or I suppose maybe it's a deer stalking hound. I don't know. A big shaggy dog. Looks a bit like an Irish wolfhound. Then you can see the back of 2 of those sort of dogs, a brown one and a white one there. Well, the hunters are hoping not to sneeze. And then there's on scene 6, the triumphant return. The 2 wolfhounds are leading the procession back. Triumphant return. Rather lovely dogs at the front. There's a falconry scene, which has similar sort of hunting theme, and there's beagles in those down the bottom. This is that's one in my collection as well. It's a number 8708 in the pattern book, says it's April 1913, and there's just one dog silhouette in amongst all those strange people. Now I'm getting on to crested miniatures. These were the souvenirs, very popular souvenirs around from 1900 to 1920-ish, around about. And this one, number 383, the puppy on the hand mirror, is my elusive thing that I am after. So if anyone has a spare one of these, let me know. So that's a very sweet one that I still don't have. The seated Scotty dogs were a very popular one amongst the crested miniatures. And there's number 507 on the left, has a Glengarry hat. Number 506 next to him with the purple Tam O'Shanter hat. Then there's number 386, which has both of those together in the one little crested miniature. And then on the right is just a seated Scotty with no hat on. It's very cute, number 505. I just think they look very sweet together. The crest of the various towns that they're souvenirs of would be on their backs. Here's a few more dogs. Number 377 is the Alert Terrier, so again another Scotty dog, but standing up. The one in the middle is called Some Pup. He's just sort of a comic dog, looking very cute. And then on the right is the British Bulldog, number 324. And then there's two more British Bulldogs in kennels. Number 316. The black version is called Black Watch, which is written on the top of the kennel, and on the white one there's no writing like that, so it's just a white bulldog in a kennel. And moving on to quite a different change of pace is the Vogue Slater Lady series. This one is S2146, and it's a lady walking whippets, and it's so from the 1930s, very stylish lady, two very stylish dogs of the time. Then moving on, there's in 1940, Lucy Dawson Dog Studies, and she was a well-known illustrator of the time, doing beautiful dogs, and she did a series of 6 dogs for Shelley, and they have the back stamp up on the top left there has Dog Studies by Lucy Dawson with a copyright, and the numbers after that show the shape and the picture that goes on them. And so they all start with LD, which is a Lucy Dawson, and then the shape number, which is tall mug and mug, bowl, pin dish, butter dish, ashtrays, cup and saucer. And then they conclude with a number which identifies the pattern. So number 1 is the Pekingese. Number 2 is the setter. Number 3 is the Scottish Terrier. Number 4 is a Fox Terrier. 5 is what has been described as a West Highland Terrier and Scottish Terrier, and number 6 is a West Highland Terrier. But I don't think that those West Highlands are West Highlands, so I'll be interested in your discussion later. So this is number 1, the Pekingese, such a cutie. Number 2, the setter, and there's at least 2 colours in that. So there's a black one on the left there, and the red setter on the right. The Scottish Terrier, as we think of the little black Scotty dog. The Fox Terrier is very cute and fuzzy. And they've called this the West Highland Terrier and Scottish Terrier. I don't think of that as a West Highland Terrier. I think of the West Highland Terrier as, and I'm pretty sure it is, a white Scotty dog with the alert ears. So I'm not really sure what the one on the left is, and a different sort of terrier, Scots Terrier. And that's the one of him by itself. It's very cute puppy of that dog, but I wouldn't say it's a West Highland Terrier. Very sweet. They're quite popular, those Lucy Dawsons. And then there's the black and white Scotch whisky there. So Brewerania, very popular. I remember you used to be able to get little plastic black and white Scots dogs came with the Scotch. You can tell what my parents used to drink. So I had those when I was a kid, and they're very cute little black and white Scotties. And there's a different one where they're sitting up and begging, asking for it. So very cute. Then there's a few, this is out of chronological order. We've just got a few nursery ones. There's not many with dogs, but there are a few. These little cute early ones would have a terrier playing with the children. Looks a bit like maybe a Bedlington Terrier, I'm not sure. There's this cute one with the Be Prepared. There's a little puppy peering around the fence. Very cute. I've called them Bitses. I don't really know. And then there's this very cute one, again in that children's series, It says, "What shall we do next, eh?" And the boy with his best friend, some sort of wire-haired terrier, I think. Then there's this Dutch children one. "Little Dutchman, has your pa seen you with that big cigar?" Little Dutchman answers, "Yes, Dutch boys often smoke like this." Yeah, it wouldn't be thought of as quite so funny these days, but that was meant to be humorous. And the very cute dog, bit of a bitzer, I'm not quite sure what he is, looking, askance back over his shoulder at the artist. Very cute. Then there's a few little Mabel Lucy Atwell ones. I'm not sure if those are dogs or teddy bears. It's a bit hard to tell. Some sort of puppy or bear, maybe. And then there's also a Hilda Cowham. On the Hilda Cowham teapot, there's something with the children at the front of the tent. Could be a puppy. Really hard to tell. Could be a little bear. Okay, that was dogs. So I'm moving on to cats. And we'll start with the early. This was an early intarsio one. I haven't got any J.F. Wileman or earlier cats, but I did find a few in the early Wileman times. So this is Polly Put the Kettle On, and there's a little black cat in the corner there. That's 3011, so that's early in the intarsio first series range. Then there's these fabulous intarsio cats. Again, this is another one that if anyone has a spare, I would love one of these. They're just beautiful. I think there's about 7 of them altogether. There's 2 sizes. These are a couple of the more popular colorways. So there's 3321, 3313 is the large one, and 3332 is the smaller one with the rats on it. And I just think they're kind of ugly, but kind of gorgeous. I really love those. Very rare and very sought after. Another intarsio one with cats. This is the vase 3136 with white cats on branches with blossoms. And it's just a very pretty decorative piece of intarsio. There's the same pattern is on this faience biscuit barrel. So 7605. Again, white cats on branches with blossoms. I think it's rather lovely. I just love the way they've got the movement in the cats. Just interesting poses. And then this one is another intarsio. This is second series intarsio. So the previous ones were Frederick Reed intarsio period. And this is the time of Walter Slater, and 3631 and black cat and moon on a candlestick with the word good night on it. I think it's rather fabulous. Only aware of one of those. And now onto the crested miniatures again. Like the dogs, there's quite a few cats in the crested miniature range. They would have been a popular souvenir, I think. The 2 at the back, the tall ones, are 333. It's comical cat. And you can find that with in the 2 directions of ear and winking. So it's winking with its left ear up and left eye winking, or right ear up and right eye winking. I've included the lion, number 369, because he's a big cat. The next one down is 195, the angry cat. It usually has me backs up. So the cat with the arched back. It's not looking that angry, really, because it's sort of winking, I think, as well. Number 68 down the bottom, the lying down cat, which I'm particularly fond of. It just looks very, very usual cat situation. And that one I particularly like. It's got the crest of Robin Hood's Bay on. It's very pretty. And then at the back there's 2 cats sitting and winking, and that's called Tim, the real Cheshire cat. And he's, again, you can find him in both directions, so sitting, facing either left or right. Then there's the long, skinny one, number 381, the standing cat, which is very cute with its tongue out. And 198 is the same as the angry cat, but with no tail. And that's a Manx cat at the bottom there. A number of those cats also came in black. So 148, Tim the Cheshire Cat, the 333 Comical Cat, and 195 Angry Cat there. So black cats often thought of as good luck. So they'll usually have good luck written on them, or in the one on the bottom right, for luck. So I think they're rather lovely. They seem to be a popular gift, maybe to provide good luck. So there were some more cats on the crested miniatures. There's Mother Shipton 409 on the left there. She has a black cat. She's some sort of witch, and the black cat would be her familiar. It's the lore of witchcraft. They often have a cat as their helpmate, black cat particularly. And then 383 on the back there, on the right there, keep the home fires burning, has a little black cat beside the range. Cats would often be by the fireplace, like the Polly put the kettle on earlier. They like somewhere warm. And there's some more lucky cats. 375, the boxer England's Hope, which they think might have been modelled after a boxer called Wally Tom. And he's got there a black cat on the bottom. Here's Luck from Burnham Market. And there's a 35 top hat with a black cat on it. So I've put that upside down because it sits better that way. And then the fourth bridge at the bottom there. And I'm regretting taking that photo before I gave it a good clean. So apologies for that. So that says, here's luck, Frey the fourth bridge. So that's with a black cat, and the one on the top hat's holding white heather and a horseshoe. So and the one on the other one, a horseshoe, and I'm not sure what the red flowers are. Looks like red poppies. So they're all things that are meant to provide luck. Moving on in time, again with the Slater ladies, so this was the 1930s. One of the patterns has a lady at a writing desk with a cat sitting there. I'm surprised the cat hasn't knocked anything off the writing desk as yet. And then I thought also there's lions on crests, but I've just given one example. There's lots of lions on crests. I haven't gone through and looked for them. And then some nursery wear. So there's Dick Whittington Puss in Boots. So that's an early baby's plate, the Puss in Boots there. Looks like it's a white cat in boots, I think. There's a maybe Lucy Atwell shopping list tray. And there's a white cat there playing with the apron strings of the girl at the top. It's very cute. And there's some Hilda Cowham things with cats on them. This one has a girl playing with a ginger cat. I think that's the only cat that's not black or white in all the Shelley things I've found. But I thought that's very cute, little ginger pussycat. And another Hilda Cowham pin dish with a resting girl playing with a black kitty. It's very cute. And then there's this Hilda Cowham plate, Pussycat, Pussycat, where have you been? With the two children with a black cat in the middle, and then lots of children, lots of toddlers around the outside, just playing with the kitty. Kitties of various sorts, all black cats. And then the very last thing I've got is a pattern book page, which is dated 8 February 65. So that's in the, last year or so of the Shelley factory being around. So quite late in the Shelley production. And there's pictures of cats that are in that page. Now, I had at one point seen one or two of those cats on cups years ago in my Shelley collecting, and assumed they weren't actual Shelley pieces and maybe out of factory or something, but this proves that they are. and I foolishly didn't collect them at the time. So I haven't got any of those. Maybe someone in the show and tell might have some to show us the real thing, but they're very cute. So that's it. That's rounding up for cats and dogs. Just acknowledging the pattern book images reproduced courtesy of the Stoke-on-Trent City Archives. And most photos, a lot of them were supplied by Bruce Sandy. So thank you very much, Bruce. And there's a few references there. So from the Shelley Group magazine and our magazine and our collector's guide to Wileman and Shelley Intarsio and the Crested Miniatures. So all good references.